I'm thrilled to be here with you today. And let me say at the outset, perhaps to the surprise of a previous speaker, Palestine has not existed since 1948. And as president, I will do everything in my power to ensure that anyone who provides financial support to the BDS movement, including schools and universities, will lose any access to federal funding.
Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East, has in turn been a faithful and dependable friends. The American Friends of Israel are not fair weather friends. They recognize the strategic hinge with Israel and that America's and Israel's interests are tightly intertwined, despite our inevitable disagreements time to time. We share a critically important common interest in the Middle East, the unrelenting opposition to Iran's attempts to develop nuclear weapons. In March of 2015, when the Prime Minister spoke out against the Iran nuclear deal before a joint session of Congress, I flew to Washington and stood on the floor of the House of Representatives that was in session, the first time I had visited since we had been in session in 15 years, and I did it to show my respect, my personal respect, to the people of Israel. And I want you all to know that I have called for the suspension of the U.S.'s participation in the Iran nuclear deal in reaction to Iran's recent ballistic missile tests. These tests were both a violation of the spirit of the nuclear deal and provocations that can no longer be ignored. One of the missiles tested had printed on it in Hebrew. Can you believe this? Israel must be exterminated.
Hi everybody, my name is Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News. Thank you very much for tuning in. Okay, so if you want to see all the AIPAC speeches, they are being posted. I have Hillary Clinton's AIPAC speech posted over at the Alternate Mox News YouTube page. You will find a clickable link below this video in the text body of the video. It says Alternate Mox News YouTube page. Click here. Please do so. Donald Trump is speaking now at the AIPAC event, and you know, there is nothing like watching the future president of the United States declare Israeli ball sweat is the sweetest nectar on the planet. There is nothing I would rather do than drink Israeli ball sweat all day long. Right? But you know who didn't show up? You know which presidential candidate's not showing up? Bernie Sanders. The only Jew doesn't show up to the Israeli lobbyist fucking convention in Washington, D.C. Maybe he's a little upset because he didn't win Florida. What's wrong with you Jews? Can't even vote for a fellow Jew to be president of the United States? Vote for Hillary Clinton? Are you fucking kidding me? Alright, so anyways, I know you guys, I know there is nothing that you like seeing your presidential candidates do more than declare Israeli ball sweat as the nectar of the gods. Anyone who hasn't tasted Israeli ball sweat is missing out. You need to do it now. Because they're over there at the AIPAC convention doing just that. So, if you'd like to see other people, Donald Trump, John Kasich, Ted Cruz is supposed to speak in a few minutes after Donald Trump. It's all being posted at the Alternate Mox News YouTube page. You will find a clickable link in the text body of this video. It's a C-SPAN junkie page from back in the day. It's got lots of good videos on it. All the videos over 15 minutes are now being posted over there. So, or the majority of all the C-SPAN videos over 15 minutes are being posted over there. So, if you want to see that video, text body of this video there's a clickable link right below this video. There's a clickable link to the Alternate Mox News YouTube page. Click it, go subscribe to that one. That way you won't miss out on anything. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to buy me lunch, it's easy to do. There's also a clickable link in the text body of the video that buy Moxie lunch. I really like lunch. It's very nice of you to take a minute or two out of your busy day, your busy lives, to give a little something back to me. It's greatly appreciated. You guys are the reason that Mox News is still here. So please, please know that I can't thank you enough for that. So stay cool. One of these days this war is going to end. Till that day.
And here is a third choice. Will we keep working toward a negotiated peace or lose forever the goal of 2 states for 2 peoples? Despite many setbacks, I remain convinced that peace with security is possible, and that it is the only way to guarantee Israel's long-term survival as a strong Jewish and democratic state. It may be difficult to imagine progress in this current climate, when many Israelis doubt that a willing and capable partner for peace even exists. But inaction cannot be an option. Israelis deserve a secure homeland for the Jewish people. Palestinians should be able to govern themselves in their own state, in peace and dignity, and only a negotiated 2-state agreement can provide those outcomes. If we look at the broader regional context, converging interests between Israel and key Arab states could make it possible to promote progress on the Israeli-Palestinian issue. Israelis and Palestinians could contribute toward greater cooperation between Israel and Arabs. I know how hard all of this is. I remember what it took just to convene Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Abbas for the 3 sessions of direct face-to-face peace talks in 2010 that I presided over. But Israelis and Palestinians cannot give up on the hope of peace. That will only make it harder later. All of us need to look for opportunities to create the conditions for progress, including by taking positive actions that can rebuild trust, like the recent constructive meetings between the Israeli and Palestinian finance ministers aiming to help bolster the Palestinian economy, or the daily on-the-ground security cooperation between Israel and the Palestinian Authority. But at the same time, all of us must condemn actions that set back the cause of peace. Terrorism should never be encouraged or celebrated, and children should not be taught to hate in schools. That poisons the future. Everyone has to do their part by avoiding damaging actions, including with respect to settlements. Now, America has an important role to play in supporting peace efforts. And as president, I would continue the pursuit of direct negotiations. And let me be clear, I would vigorously oppose any attempt by outside parties to impose a solution, including by the UN Security Council. There is one more choice that we face together, and in some ways, it may be the most important of all. Will we, as Americans and as Israelis, stay true to the shared democratic values that have always been at the heart of our relationship? We are both nations built by immigrants and exiles, seeking to live and worship in freedom. Nations built on principles of equality, tolerance, and pluralism. At our best, both Israel and America are seen as a light unto the nations because of those values. This is the real foundation of our alliance, and I think it's why so many Americans feel such a deep emotional connection with Israel. I know that I do, and it's why we cannot be neutral about Israel and Israel's future, because in Israel's story, we see our own, and the story of all people who struggle for freedom and self-determination. There's so many examples. You know, we look at the Pride Parade in Tel Aviv, one of the biggest and most prominent in the world. And we marvel that such a bastion of liberty exists in a region so plagued by intolerance. We see the vigorous, even raucous debate in Israeli politics and feel right at home. And of course, some of us remember a woman, Golda Meir, leading Israel's government decades ago and wonder what's taking us so long here in America. But we cannot rest on what previous generations have accomplished. Every generation has to renew our values, and yes, even fight for them. Today, Americans and Israelis face currents of intolerance and extremism that threaten the moral foundations of our societies. Now, in a democracy, we're going to have differences. But what Americans are hearing on the campaign trail this year is something else entirely. Encouraging violence, playing coy with white supremacists, calling for 12 million immigrants to be rounded up and deported, demanding we turn away refugees because of their religion, and proposing a ban on all Muslims entering the United States. Now, we've had dark chapters in our history before. We remember the nearly 1,000 Jews aboard the St. Louis who were refused entry in 1939 and sent back to Europe. But America should be better than this, and I believe it's our responsibility as citizens to say so. If you see bigotry, oppose it. If you see violence, condemn it. If you see a bully, stand up to him. On Wednesday evening, Jews around the world will celebrate the festival of Purim, and children will learn the story of Esther, who refused to stay silent in the face of evil. It wasn't easy. She had a good life, and by speaking out, she risked everything. But as Mordecai reminded her, we all have an obligation to do our part when danger gathers, and those of us with power or influence have a special responsibility to do what's right. As Elie Wiesel said when accepting the Nobel Peace Prize, neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented. So, my friends, let us never be neutral or silent in the face of bigotry. Together, let's defend the shared values that already make America and Israel great. Let us do the hard work necessary to keep building our friendship and reach out to the next generation of Americans and Israelis so the bonds between our nations grow even deeper and stronger. We are stronger together, and if we face the future side by side,